Question 1. The Tokyo Convention was signed in which city and year? A. Chicago 1944. B. The Hague 1970. C. Tokyo 1963. D. Montreal 1971. Correct option is C. Tokyo. 1963. It was signed in Tokyo and focuses on offences committed on board aircraft. Question 2. The unlawful seizure of aircraft hijacking is primarily addressed by A. Hague Convention 1970. B. Warsaw Convention 1929. C. Tokyo Convention 1963. D. Chicago Convention 1944. Correct option is A. Hague Convention 1970. It specifically criminalizes aircraft hijacking at the international level. Question 3. The Tokyo Convention 1963 entered into force in A. 1965. B. 1969. C. 1963. D. 1971. Correct option is B. 1969. It came into force after sufficient countries ratified the agreement. Question 4. Aircraft sabotage and violence against aviation are the main focus of A. Montreal Convention 1971. B. Geneva Convention 1949. C. Tokyo Convention 1963. D. Hague Convention 1970. Correct option is A. Montreal Convention 1971. It deals with acts of sabotage and attacks against civil aviation safety. Question 5. Which convention established the International Civil Aviation Organization? ICAO. A. Montreal Convention 1971. B. Warsaw Convention 1929. C. Chicago Convention 1944. D. Tokyo Convention 1963. Correct option is C. Chicago Convention 1944. It laid the foundation for global civil aviation governance and ICAO. Question 6. The gap filled by the Hague Convention 1970 was criminalizing A. Sabotage of navigation facilities, unlawful seizure of aircraft, damage to the aircrafted, assault on crew members. Correct option is B. Unlawful seizure of aircraft. It directly addressed hijacking, which earlier laws did not fully cover. Question 7. Penalties for offences under the Montreal Convention are determined by A. The International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice, a fixed ICAO scheduled national law of the prosecuting state. Correct option is D. National law of the prosecuting state. Each country applies its own legal system to punish offenders. Question 8. Which UN agency oversees international civil aviation conventions? A. ITUB, ICAO, IMO. WMO. Correct option is B. ICAO. It regulates and coordinates international civil aviation standards. Question 9. The Montreal Convention for Aviation Safety was signed in 1963. B. 1970. C. 1971. D. 1988. Correct option is C. 1971. It strengthened global aviation security against sabotage acts. Question 10. The 1971 Montreal Convention entered into force in which year? A. 1972. B. 1974. C. 1973. D. 1971. Correct option is C. 1973. It became effective after required ratifications by member states. Question 11. The Beijing Protocol of 2010 serves as a supplement to the A. Montreal Convention 1971. B. Tokyo Convention 1963. C. Montreal Protocol 1988. D. Hague Convention 1970. Correct option is A. Montreal Convention 1971. It expands provisions related to modern aviation threats. Question 12. The Beijing Convention of 2010 primarily aimed to A. Ban smoking on flights, B. Modernize aviation security laws, set passenger baggage limits, regulate airline ticket prices. Correct option is B. Modernize aviation security laws. It updates legal frameworks to tackle emerging threats like cyber risks. Question 13. The final text of the Chicago Convention is divided into E. 96 articles, 54 articles, 112 articles, 77 articles. Correct option is A. 96 articles. It comprehensively defines international aviation standards and principles. Question 14. ICAO officially became a specialized agency of the United Nations in A. 1944. B. 1955. C. 1951. D. 1947. Correct option is D. 1947. It formally joined the UN system to regulate global aviation. Question 15. The Tokyo Convention of 1963 deals primarily with offences committed on board aircraft, compensation for accidents, standardization of airport markings to aircraft noise regulations. Correct option is A. Offences committed on board aircraft. It gives authority to the aircraft commander to maintain order on board. Question 16. ICAO's regional office for the Middle East is located in A. Dubai, Doha, Cairo, Riyadh. Correct option is C. Cairo. It serves as the regional hub for aviation coordination in the Middle East.